This is the Personal Branding Success in 10 Minutes podcast. I am your host, Kaitlin Zhang.
And I am your host, Danielle Bardowell. Does everyone need a personal website?
Well, there are other core platforms that you can use, like social media channels, maybe YouTube or something. But I really think that there are a lot of benefits to having a personal website. You get more control of the look and feel in terms of your visual branding. And in terms of text content, you have unlimited space to write whatever you need to write. It can be as simple, as complex as you want. You don't have to worry about Facebook or Twitter being down or something like that, or if they change the algorithm and they don't do things the way you want them to showcase your information anymore, you're not really at the mercy of another platform. You have those things on your own website. It's just much easier.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I know you said that a website is not a necessity, but it sounds like everyone should get a website anyway, just because of the flexibility that it allows when you want to showcase everything that you can offer to people. So in terms of outreach, you can add a newsletter form, and you can have a blog and that kind of stuff. Sure, some platforms allow you to have a blog like LinkedIn, but then there's a word limit for Twitter and the algorithms, as you mentioned. So it seems like everyone should eventually get a website.
I think so. I think there are a benefit of having traffic, web traffic, directed to a domain where you own it. So you are in control of how you want to present your brand. In terms of gathering user data, the data is not being collected on Facebook or Twitter or somewhere else. If that platform doesn't exist anymore, we've seen some platforms go. I mean, are people still using Snapchat? Maybe they are. I don't know. But there are, channels that start and channels that go, right? If you have all your user and your loyal fans following you on those platforms and that platform doesn't exist anymore, how are you going to keep in touch with them? So having a website and being able to capture emails through a newsletter, for example, would be a really useful way for you to be in control of that relationship. When you're doing SEO, search engine optimization, like someone types in Kaitlin Zhang on Google, I'm hoping that they're going to land in either my personal website or my company website.
Well, funny story about that. When you first reached out to me, when you were hiring me, the first thing I did was let me Google Kaitlin Zhang, and I found a lot of stuff like about the first thing I found was about how you're a personal branding consultant. That gave me a good idea of, okay, this is the type of job that I would be going into, and this is the type of field I'll be looking into. So your SEO is on point.
Thanks. Yeah, but it's also useful that my name is not very common. I think if you have a name that's ranking with someone else that's really famous, that's hard. But there's another, whole show about how to deal with that problem.
What is your personal website like?
Well, I was lucky. I got the KaitlinZhang.com domain name. The branding is very much similar to the ovalbranding.com. We used similar colors like this light green and a little bit of dark green as well, with pops of gold and red. And the background image and the font's the same. Right in the beginning, you can see that Kaitlin Zhang is a brand builder, speaker, artist, CEO at Oval Branding. It clearly outlines what I do. I'm hoping that one day I'm going to be able to add a little bit more about the art that I'm working on. Right now, it's mostly focused a little bit more on my branding side and speaking side. I just try to keep it a bit simple. There's a picture of me on the homepage, so definitely go check that out. That was a really fun photo shoot I did in China. On the speaker page, there's also pictures of me doing speaking gigs. I really enjoy in-person, also webinars as well, training, workshops, speaking to an audience, getting that feedback is really useful to me. I try to keep it not too much information, with some press I've been featured in, some logos of clients who we worked with, and an about section showing people a little bit about me. Having a great website, having your picture, really great pictures on there, and a little bit about yourself gives people trust, right? They see that and then they think that, oh, this person's put an effort into promoting their brand, and they understand who they're serving, so that I can a little bit trust them a little bit more because they are professional enough to put this together.
how can I get started with my personal website? Like, what's the first thing I need to do?
So website comes under step 3, which is the platform bit of the 5 steps of building your personal brand. Before that, you should have already got step 1 and step 2 down, which is understanding your brand positioning and having some visual assets to work with, like logos, colors, fonts, a little bit of visual identity design. So once you have those things, I would start by collecting websites that you like. So I've shown you 3 that I like, plus my website. You want to think about who are the people's website that you like, which look and feel do you want to maybe emulate, and create a basic menu structure. So a basic structure is you can have a one-page website where it's just there's only one page. That's fine. But also you can have a website with some basic pages like about. That will be probably important to talk about yourself, and perhaps a blog, perhaps services if you're offering some kind of services, and a contact page. Contact page is so important. You have to have that one. Links to your social media. People want to get in touch, right? It's like, oh, they want to know about you. So having a contact form on your website is excellent. Having a newsletter subscription box is great. So those are kind of basic building blocks for a website that you can get started with.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of legwork goes into building a website, just because I would imagine that you would need to establish your brand positioning before even thinking about the design. Because if you don't have a clear brand position, then how will you know what pictures you want to use, what colors, and something that will align with your brand positioning? Your website would just be all over the place.
Yeah, that's true. I don't suggest jumping right into the website before you have the other things figured out, because once you have the other stuff figured out, it's all ready to go for you. For example, the text on your website, if you have your biography ready, if you have a pitch ready for what you're offering to other people, then the text content of your site is mostly written already. It doesn't have to be reinvented. And the colors, you don't have to reinvent that. You can just use your branding colors. Working with a personal branding consultant or a web designer for sure is going to help you, make the journey a little bit smoother, because they'll be able to walk alongside you to create this. You don't have to know any technical knowledge at all.
Okay. What are some general rules of thumb for designing a personal website?
One thing that I would say is thinking about your domain name. If you can, before you have even worked on your brand positioning, if you can, try to purchase your domain name if it's available. So for me, KaitlinZhang.com was available, so I got it right away. Actually, kzhang.com, I actually own that as well. It's redirected to KaitlinZhang.com. So checking out some websites to buy your domain name, it should be quite affordable. So buy that, and then when you're ready to come back working on a website, do that. Other things such as making your user experience as good as possible. Always tell the viewer what's in it for them. Don't ask people to click too much. Try to give them the information they want in a clear, logical way, and don't have to click a million times to get to where they want to go. Make sure it's super easy for people to contact you. Make sure your form works, and have a really clear call to action. What do you want people to do after they visit your website? Is it to fill out your form? Is it to purchase something? Is it to follow you somewhere? And lastly, don't forget, lots of people forget this, think about how fast your website is loading. Talk to your web designer, talk to your web developer about loading speed and security. You want to think about, like, there are websites that are small websites, but they do get hacked sometimes too. So make sure you have the security up to date. And lastly, thinking a little bit more about search engine optimization, SEO. How well does your website rank on Google? And there are things that the web designer, web developer can help you implement on your website to make it rank a little bit higher on Google.
What are some ways I can make my website stand out in my niche or industry?
Start by taking a look at your competitors' websites. How are their websites doing well? How can you improve on their websites? Make sure that your site is mobile friendly and tablet friendly. A lot of sites are not. So if you're not, then you get penalized by Google and of course by the users. They don't they want to see on your on their phone, right? They want to see on their phone clearly and outlined well. They don't want to have to go to a website that doesn't really load well on a mobile. So make sure that you do that. And use consistent branding, your visuals, your fonts, make sure that's all really standing out. Whatever your brand going for, just make it consistent and make it tell the right story, and don't have it contradict what your brand message is. So just be consistent with that.
What are ways in which I can entice my audience to continuously visit my website?
Having links on your social media back to your website should be a given. Work on your search engine optimization, SEO, so it ranks high on Google, so new people searching for the key terms. And if you want to constantly update your website, like once in a while, update your website so that it has new content that will bring viewers back. One great way of doing that is writing a blog. It doesn't have to be too long, but as long as it's interesting to your audience, you have that blog out and then you promote it on social media and get people to notice it and read it, then that's great. So the main takeaways for today are: takeaway number 1, personal websites are a great way to showcase your brand offering and to present you in the right way. 2, build your website with the best user experience possible. Takeaway 3, don't forget mobile friendliness, SEO, security, and loading speed. The actionable next step is to research some other personal websites in your industry, see what they're doing well, see what you can learn from them, and use that as a blueprint to think about how you can build your site or improve your website. This episode is produced by Oval Branding, a London-based award-winning branding agency that serves corporate clients and personal clients around the world. Visit ovalbranding.com to contact us about your next marketing project. I am Kaitlin Zhang. Thank you for listening.